Yesterday we discussed the specific age and manner of Guru Padmasambhava's birth. There are different accounts. This is quite normal. Yesterday I mentioned some stories from Han region, such as the story of Fuxi, to illustrate the history and some accounts about the creator of the I Ching. Similarly, there are also the world's great sages. In the West, for example, there is Jesus. Jesus' mother is universally recognized in the West as the Virgin Mary. Regarding the Virgin Mary, some say she was an emanation of Avalokiteshvara, but in any case, when Jesus first appeared, there was no specific designated father in our ordinary human sense. She suddenly became pregnant. When she was pregnant, she was very distressed. Later, a heavenly deity said, "This child was sent by the divine. You need not be sad." Later, she had a fiancé who also heard about this matter and found it very difficult to accept. At that time, he also received a command from God. Later, he was able to accept it as well. This is also, some people may think this might be fabricated by others, proclaimed by others. Perhaps it was not that way. Including Garab Dorje. When Garab Dorje was born, his mother was originally a nun. When the nun was drawing water by the river, a crow or some kind of bird touched her neck 3 times and flew away. Later, she became pregnant. After she became pregnant, she felt it was particularly bad. Later, when she gave birth, she dug a hole and filled it with ashes. So later, he was called Rolangde. So many great figures in history. Their birth or their history also have different accounts. And I remember in the past, in 2011 at Sun Yat-sen University, I felt at that time when I spoke about the life of Jesus, I quoted the conversation between Dr. Sun Yat-sen and Master Shu Yun. This is in written records. I have seen it before. In this case, it seems Christianity might not necessarily accept this. Their Pope, probably about 1,000 years ago, may have already deleted this view. Because Jesus, generally around age 18 or 12 until his 30s, much of his chronology is unclear. The reasons for this lack of clarity vary, but in the Gospels of the Bible, indeed, it is said that some things were discovered later that the religion does not necessarily accept, but the fact is he may have been in the Himalayas for 6 years or 12 years, engaging in such practice. But regarding this practice, there are also various historical accounts. For example, in the Acts of the Apostles on water, it is mentioned that from age 18 until many years later, he came from Taxila, present-day Pakistan, Iran, and then to Nepal. So we might think, in this valley we don't know about Jesus' birth. Knowing is fine, not knowing is also fine. But many people in the world, especially in the West, their followers account for so many worldwide. Whether Eastern Orthodox, Christianity, or Catholicism, their accounts are basically consistent. So sometimes we need to understand history a little bit. At the same time, in our world today, these great religious figures who have great influence, what do their histories say? If many of their histories on the one hand contain myths and on the other hand also contain some facts in such cases, then we can also have, including Guru Padmasambhava in Tibetan Buddhism, some of his biographical summaries. In our current human lifespan of about 80 years in the minds of such people, they may not be able to accept it. But this is not a problem. If this were a problem, then many great religious figures in the world, or some great worldly people, their life, their age, including their specific activities, also have different accounts. But to say that because there are different accounts, this is unreasonable, that would be absurd. So we may sometimes need to look at the history of the entire world and also the various religions, their own great figures, founders, because now in the Bible, I previously wanted to study the Bible because it is especially famous in the West. But later I found it seems that over 1600 years there were various different religious leaders and many people participated in its composition. Just like the I Ching we discussed the other day, over so many years there were continuous adjustments. Some were for political power. There were also some modifications. This is possible in comparison over the past 2,500 years. The Buddhist teachings have not undergone major changes due to the needs of political rule, including all the Terma and transmitted teachings of Guru Padmasambhava. There have been no major corrections or alterations. This should be a quite good thing. So when we face this world, sometimes it is not only that we ourselves have faith saying, "Oh, Guru Padmasambhava is wonderful, Guru Rinpoche Chen." This is indeed good faith, but others just ignore you. What Chen or not Chen, Guru Rinpoche. Later, Guru Padmasambhava did not enter any city. Rather, he frequented the charnel grounds in various places. Perhaps he grew weary of the king's actions just now. He became a bit disgusted. So he no longer went to the cities, but went to the charnel grounds. He subdued the spirits there. The king's scribe, ministers, and those assassins within 7 days either saw their families destroyed because of their harm toward Guru Rinpoche. Yesterday, weren't there 3 people, the scribe and 2 ministers? Within 7 days, some had their families destroyed, some were separated from wives and children. Various things happened, or they took their own lives. None survived, basically all, and the king himself was bitten to death by a poisonous snake. Actually, regarding virtuous and non-virtuous actions and their results, some people may not accept this, but if we have experienced this path, there are still some especially sublime objects, such as monasteries, great masters, and scholars. If one deliberately harms them, one will still experience various kinds of karmic retribution. From that time on, Guru Padmasambhava stayed for a long time in charnel grounds, accompanied by Vitalas, Rakshasas, Pishakas, Dakinis, and other powerful spirits. He diligently recited mantras. Through this, he beheld Trilokya, Vijaya, Yamantaka, and all the wrathful Vajra deities. Guru Padmasambhava was primarily a great accomplished master of wrathful deities, and he received their teachings. He conversed directly with Mahakala and the 7 protector goddesses, just as if speaking with other people. He could command all fierce Nagas and Yaksas to do his bidding. He gained mastery over 1,000,000 powerful mantras of both worldly and transcendent types. So regarding powerful mantras in our world, it should be Guru Padmasambhava in every aspect of auspicious circumstances. Generally, when we see these Terma treasures, I also hope that sometimes we can look at them, because nowadays many of us who are studying don't seem to regard Terma treasures as something significant. In the West, however, many people are researching Terma teachings, a great many indeed. It seems we think this is normal. It has nothing to do with me. Although we may not fully understand, Terma teachings are truly extremely rare and precious. So some people specialize on doing the research. We in Tibetan area nowadays don't really have this kind of research. For example, I am a researcher of Guru Chowang's Termas. I am a researcher of Ratna Lingpa's Termas. I am a researcher of such and such. If it were like this person's research of the entire collection would be quite good. Not only their research, but eventually they themselves would truly be captivated by some of the Vajra words within. In the past, wasn't there someone from Bhutan who specialized in studying Guru Padmasambhava and Pema Lingpa's Terma teachings? He wanted to refute them, but he realized that without understanding them, he could not succeed. So he spent a certain amount of time staying there for 2 or 3 years. Later, not only could he not refute their views, but he himself truly became a follower of the Nyingma tradition. There is such an account. So Guru Padmasambhava gained mastery over 1,000,000 powerful mantras. At that time, together with all the powerful non-human beings by means of the Vidyadhara's miraculous abilities, he went to the 8 naturally arisen great charnel grounds of Jambudvapa. Jambudvapa probably referred to the area of India at that time. This designation may be somewhat different from the Jambudvapa discussed in the Abhidharma Kosha. There is a bit of difference. Sometimes there are various different names. Guru Padmasambhava met the 8 great Acharyas who already resided there. Relying on them one by one, he accomplished the common siddhis. So what follows is how Guru Padmasambhava relied on the 8 great Acharyas and achieved 8 accomplishments. This is slightly different from what is found in some other books we usually read. There are some differences. The names of these 8 great Acharyas are also different. The 8 accomplishments are also somewhat different. At Gavara Anandaka Charnel ground, relying on Master Dhanasamskrita, what did he accomplish? He accomplished the siddhi of the sword. The sword is for cutting through ignorance. It is symbolic. In fact, his wisdom is very sharp. Perhaps he becomes proficient in Buddhist logic, Abhidharma, everything. The siddhi of the sword is not Shaolin martial arts, swinging it around here and there. It does not mean that. At Gavara Charnel ground, relying on Master Son of the Earth, he accomplished the siddhi of the pill. The pill mainly is very powerful in treating illnesses, including treating mental afflictions, not just physical ailments. At Jivalakula Charnel ground, relying on Master Son of the Sun, he accomplished the Siddhi of the eye medicine. The Siddhi of eye medicine, that kind of eye medicine, is not like the eye drops from Japan nowadays. Just apply, and if we don't handle our eyes properly, it can be very dangerous. When that eye medicine is applied to the eyes, one immediately sees. Not only does one see external material things, but also internal things. One can see the mind as well. What this person is thinking, like having clairvoyance of others' minds. This kind of Siddhi at Basanamala Charnel ground, relying on Master Amogadarsha, he accomplished the Siddhi of the boots. This is equivalent to the power of miraculous travel. He can traverse wherever he wishes to go. At that time, didn't Vairocana also go there by means of this kind of Siddhi? At Atahasa Charnel ground, relying on Master Shripavata, he obtained the Siddhi of curing illnesses with medicine. This mainly relates to worldly medicinal substances. At Shravana Charnel ground, relying on Priyankara, which means the great loving one, he obtained the Siddhi of the elixir of deathlessness that sustains life. If we take 1 or 2 pills in our daily life, we don't need to eat food. At that time, Venerable Longchenpa also slept inside a yak hair bag and relied on a few pills to sustain himself for a long time. I see nowadays in Taoism this is also quite common. Nowadays many of us can also go a month without eating food. At Kilikila Charnel ground, relying on whom? The naked master. He obtained the Siddhi of the treasure vase. At Javalana Charnel ground, relying on Master Dustanigraha, he obtained the Siddhi of the alchemical elixir. This means touching something slightly and it immediately turns into gold. No need to earn money. Actually, in other texts previously, there are Siddhis of invisibility, flying, and earth traveling. Some of these are quite similar to what is here. Through these accomplishments, he became a Vidyadhara. Guru Padmasambhava thought to himself, now I should attain Buddhahood through the way of austerities, to attain the fruit of Buddhahood. In a dream, Amitabha appeared and prophesied, without realizing the true nature, without possessing miraculous powers, to rely on the fierce conduct of a warrior hero will greatly obstruct the accomplishment you seek. Through this alone, you cannot attain the fruit of Mahamudra. Your destined master is the glorious Acharya Buddhajjana. You should follow his teachings. Later on, it seems there is the reliance on Acharya Buddhajjana's teachings. We will stop here for today.
Jupun Solen Drasha Bandangara Padmasambhava Bandangara Padmasambhava Bandangara Padmasambhava